Hello, everybody. Welcome to, well, first off, I'm Sweet Pea, and you would generally hear the beautiful sounds of Pretty Bird introducing herself. But unfortunately, she's not going to make it tonight. So I am Sweet Pea, and together with Pretty Bird, we are Pretty Sweet. So welcome to Pretty Sweet Distractions, where we speak unfiltered about life, love, poetry, and prowess. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the distractions in the form of open discussions on artful words. Now for the rules, because of course we're going to have rules. We're grown up people talking about grown up things using very grown up words. If you're easily offended, this may not be your balancing tea bag, cup of tea, or whatever floats your boat. We like to have fun, poke fun, and generally have a great time. If you're down to be distracted, come hang out, chat, call, like, follow, share, leave your opinions on our opinions, click all the hearts, and show us some love. We have live streams every Tuesday and Thursday at 10 o'clock Eastern. And tonight, our show is about people watching. Grab some popcorn and let's watch. We can't always avoid the crowds or overhearing intimate conversations. There's no expectation of privacy in the public after all. Sometimes creating backstories turn these moments with strangers into living poetry, tickling our funny bones, breaking our hearts, or just pissing us off. Some of us keep our eyes low and can't be bothered. However, others elevate watching into people watching into an art form. And that is very true. I love to people watch. First off, I think almost everyone does it. I mean, if we actually had to wear jerseys about it, I think half the world would have their own team jerseys. I mean, I would have one. Conversation listener too. But I do take that people watching to the next level because I butt in. I'm like, oh, is that what your problem is? Is that what you should be doing? I'm going to jump in real quick. Hi, Rack. Okay. Okay, he's not quite there, but he's going to be running in and out, I'm sure. Um, my pun slinger is definitely there. So, but anyway, I love to. I'm one of those people that butt in, and especially if they're I'm something that I'm interested. Yeah, okay, maybe I shouldn't, but I do. But you're the one that has your cell phone on volume 100, so everybody around you can hear you. And this is something that has been a problem, and I think technology has made people watching more of an I don't know, an art of hearing. You used to watch people and kind of try to figure out their conversation through, facial expression or body language. You kind of had to fill in things, your imagination. But now it's so blatant. You hear both sides of the story. You're listening to everybody involved, and you get to form. You don't get to form the story. You hear the story. Now that's not everybody. You still get to watch people from across, the park or, across the cafeteria or whatever and have that fun because, that noble sense of sitting quietly, pretending to mind your own business while absolutely not minding your own business. That's more fun. But, you know, you you get to figure it out. You get to play with strangers. You get to play, all of those lovely things that, oh, who's doing what and what's doing who. And that's kind of the other fun part of it is when you get to have the fun of, oh, what's going on? Who's doing what? Is she mad at her husband? Is she having an affair? Oh, those two over there are definitely having an affair because they are not married to each other. And all of the things that aren't yours, or maybe you want them to be yours, and you get to have that fantasy, or what are they laughing about, or I wish I was that happy, or all of the ideas of being with a stranger, or thinking of what that stranger is doing. It We as humans have this innate um, thing about being curious of what's going on around us, and we're extremely curious about the people around us. We are constantly looking at the world in eyes that want to know what's next, who's going to do what. Um, we kind of gossip to ourselves about what may or may not be happening. I mean, I know that I've gotten it wrong many times. I had a couple in front of me that I thought were sure to break up. They were arguing and just going at it, just totally. The body language was wrong, and she tossing the salt across the table, and he's pounding his plate, and I'm like, oh my god, I don't even know what they were arguing about, but it was serious. Their facial expressions, their hand gestures, the way they were. The guy was cutting his steak so hard, it was like, damn, what that cow do to you? And he was just leaning into the table, and his eyebrows were like knitted together, and you couldn't hear what they were saying, but she was just leaning back almost all the way to the back of her seat, and he was leaning forward. And by the end of their dinner, they walked out of there hand in hand. So I don't know what they worked out, but they worked out something. And and the scene in my head is like, she's going to walk out of here, she's going to throw water in his face, something's going to happen. And I was waiting, I was anticipating, I was all involved in their story, that I didn't even talk to my own partner, because I was, off in my own land, in my own head, watching these two people, because that's where I was involved. You can watch mothers with children. You can, like, oh, I would never talk to my child that way. I would never do that. How dare she talk to her kid that way? But you have no idea if that child had been an aggravating little pain in the ass all morning, and he's still being an aggravating pain in the ass, and she's giving him warnings, and she's giving him this, and so finally it's picking him up and taking him in the car and taking him home and putting him in timeout or whatever she's going to do, because of the entire time he's not behaved. But we have that little bit of self-righteous kind of behavior. Yeah, well, I wouldn't do that, because sometimes when you people watch, you can be a little judgmental, but you can also express empathy. I once saw this lovely couple, this poor boy, just kind of begging this beautiful girl, "Don't break up with me. I need you." And she's leaving, and she's got tears in her eyes, and you're just like, "Oh, young love," and I wish, I could go back to that. But then you're like, oh, yeah, all the breakups and all the crap and all the high school drama. You don't want to do that. But you have come across these things, and you have those memories that you go back to, and you're like, oh, God. You can feel that poor kid's broken heart. But you can also, there's got to be a reason for it. What'd you do? Or maybe she found somebody else, but it's not going to be your last love. And, you just kind of want to go and tell them that, even though you don't. If you're smart about it, you don't. um, you know or you're in the grocery store, and you see this woman on the phone, and you can hear her partner just yelling at her, well, don't forget to get this, and don't forget to get that, and don't forget that. And I oh, okay, this is where I kind of butt in, and I'm like, just hang up the phone. You don't need to listen to that. And, sometimes I get really bad looks. And sometimes I'm like, oh my God, he doesn't stop. He just doesn't stop. You don't understand. And I'll get into very long conversations. And, maybe I shouldn't, but, I make friends. Sometimes I make not so many friends. But again, if you're going to keep your volume on 10, um, people are going to know. I've had more than once where you get a group of people that are listening nearby, and they start a completely different conversation about the conversation they're overhearing. And that to me is absolutely hilarious, when you have people taking sides. No, I think, so and so is right. No, I think the person on the phone is right. no, she shouldn't have said that, or they shouldn't have said that, or her mother shouldn't have done that, or, and you just go on and on and on. And it's really none of our business, but it's so loud that you actually have kind of a peanut gallery situation going on. And um, that's the way it is. But the whole thing is, people watching is one of the best things about it is, let's make sure you're not, becoming a stalker, because that's kind of creepy. But it's it is supposed to be observing respectively from a distance, like a polite owl. Like, oh, here I am. I'm in a tree, and you're walking by, and I'm just kind of watching you, not getting involved. That's the key. Don't do what I do, because I over involve, and I know that. I absolutely know that. We are, sit back and appreciate the beauty of the absurdity of human life, because humans are weird, we're chaotic, we're unpredictable, and there are so many weirdos out there. They pass by every day. They come up. You've got people preaching on corners. You've got people, and I don't mean like normal. I mean like, hey, the comet is coming. We're going to like fly by. This is going to happen. There's green aliens, and all the many things that can happen out there. And true people watching is just sitting back and watching it, um, and enjoying it, and just maybe sitting there with a partner, or even by yourself, just watch those fast walkers on a mission, or you know those micro interactions, watching someone try to decide between two brands of cereals, like witnessing, like they're going to have a breakdown. And I've seen that in grocery stores. Oh my God, is it chicken or beef, or is it chicken or beef? And it cracks me up, because is that really that hard of a decision for anybody? Well, maybe it is. And it's like they're having some kind of um, small, like I said, it's going to break their day if they can't figure out what's going on, or how they're going to say it, or anything like that. And it kind of is very funny to me. And I know it probably shouldn't be, but it is. Um, I don't mean it to be, but sometimes things do tickle my fancy. Um, and maybe they shouldn't, but that's just who I am. But I'm sure there are many things that tickle other people's fancy, and I would go, that's odd. But, we get to look around and just observe people. I am absolutely sure have been the weirdo of several conversations. One, because I mumble all the time. I'll be somewhere, and I'll have my notes, or I'll have my pad, and I'm like, okay, this has got to get done. This has got to get done. Okay, and people are like, wow, she's either lost her mind, lost her memory, or is the dumbest person, because I always have a notepad with me, and it's like I write, I write everything I'm gonna eat for 2 weeks, and I put it on a grocery list, and then I go to the grocery store, and I make sure everything is the way it's supposed to be. So I try very diligently to make sure that's all there. It's what I try to do. It's how I try to do it. So sometimes people watch me, I'm sure, and think, oh, what a weirdo. Pretty bird, what are you doing? You shouldn't be here. Um, so I get excited about that, and I can't hear you either.
Oh, am I on?
Oh, there you are. You shouldn't be
I
talking.
thought I'm not going to hang out for a long time because I don't have a voice. I just, I've been listening and I think it's absolutely hysterical that you and I watch people completely different. Like you're all ensconced and enthralled, and 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 that is not at all how I see. I avoid people. Me and people, yeah. Sometimes people suck, so I do not invite them into my personal space. So here's the thing, like if I'm like in a large crowd, if I'm at like a theme park or something, I'll like sit on a bench and watch the people farther away from me because I'm not paying attention to the heathens in front of my face. Like I'll assess for danger for my kids, and then after that, I don't want to hear anything y'all have to say. So the ones that I can't hear, 20 and 30 feet away, I'll make up stories all day long. I'll make up a whole background. I'll sit there and have a whole entire movie in real life of people I don't know will never see again that has nothing to do with actual reality. Because their reality, I give no shits about. If I don't want to take part in my own drama, I don't want to take part in a bunch of strangers' drama because once I'm in it, I'm in it. So I thought it was really, really funny how you're all like, ooh, what are they doing? And I'm all like, I see nothing. I know nothing. I'm not here. And I just thought that was absolutely hysterical that we're on like opposite ends of the watching. You're like in it. And I'm just like, nope, I'm making up my own story over here in peace. Don't even look at me.
Well, I do that for some people, but there's those cell phone people that, where technology has made us like we're in it. They're so loud. It's like you have nine or, these conversations where you hear both sides. And it's not like I approach them all the time. Sometimes I do. But, it's just like you have people that listen nearby, and then those people start talking about what the people on the phone are talking about. And it's just crazy to me how technology has put some of us right in the middle of these conversations, where before it was just sitting back and watching, facial expressions or body language and making up your stories. Rack, can you hear us, darling?
It's if you can hear me. That's the issue.
I can hear you now. This is fabulous.
Hey, Rack.
Hey, oh my God, Maud.
Yes.
Well, I don't think she sounds like Maude. I think she sounds like Lauren Bacall.
I think I sound
Oh,
like
okay.
Beth, but that's all right.
So
Where do
what's
you
your
fall on the people watching? Sorry to just step in there. I'm patient by nature. I'm sorry.
You're fine. Restless,
You
are you?
know, before I lost my sight, it's not much different. Everything was always, what you could catch. For me, I spent a lot of time uh, commuting, so I have many hours on the trains, many hours on the trains. So I used to play games sometimes, and you know, overhearing the cell phone conversations and whatnot of people, um, I would make like I was on the phone too, and coincidentally having similar conversations. So that way they didn't know that I was like making fun of their conversation or whatever. They not Chinese again, that kind of thing. And oh they must be talking about dinner also, kind of a well, let them wonder what's going on my end, as opposed to me making fun of what's going on their end. So it was always I didn't really care very much one way or the other because I tend to be content in my own little world, and just I just want to get there. I just want to get where I'm going, and focus on what comes next, what comes next, what comes next. So it never really made much
I've
difference to me one way or the other. Go for it.
Okay, since you used to commute for hours at a time for years,
Yes, yes,
did you
yes.
ever like make up these personalities for people and then actually eventually have conversations with these people and then be all like, ew, no?
it was it
Or
was it was funny like that. Definitely you got to see these people and the same people over and over and over again. So it usually by past got past the I just see this, oh, you're a familiar face, to we would sit together, and on the Jersey Transit, the seats folded so you could make like a two-row seat into one big block of six, instead of two rows. And make like a central thing. It was fun. Everybody got to know everybody. That each person's personality came out, and it was very different. We had people
I
that
would
would
have
get on the
hated
train.
you.
You would we had people that would get on, and they knew everyone's coffee preference, and I had there was this girl that used to get on, and she would like hand out coffee. She'd be like, here's your coffee, here's your coffee. Oh, I bought you tea because I know you don't like the coffee, and here's a hot chocolate. I just, it's weirdos.
No,
They want to
I'd
make
be the
friends with you, but
weirdo
not
that would
this.
sit there and make a hat for the one person who never wore a hat. Like, here, you look like you need this. It's cold, and like not even ask their name and move the fuck on.
But you'd make the hat.
I would make the hat, just as long as they don't talk to me.
As long as they don't
Oh my
talk.
God. The conversations that came up were hysterical sometimes because people that they feel like they know you after a while, and they feel comfortable saying some things that'll just like one day I was sitting on the train, and that coffee woman. There was like a clique of like 6 or 8 of us that we all kind of knew each other, and we would talk, and I mean different stops and different people that worked in IT. Someone that worked for Victoria's Secret. There's people, website people, and all these. But this one woman one day we're sitting there, and she, I don't know, she's like 80, 70. She was an older lady. And was sitting there one day, and she looked at me. She goes, "Would you buy me condoms?" I'm like, "Excuse me." Um, it was the weird. She wanted to put them on her dog's feet for the winter.
Oh
But
my
anyways, yeah, 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 yeah. It was just the reactions that the other people that knew us as a group or whatever, they're looking at her like, why are you singling him out, and why are you asking him to buy you condoms? Can't you buy your own condoms? It's just weird, weird, weird. What the way people thought processes sometimes.
God.
It's just insane. It really is, and like you said, because of the amount of time I particularly spent on the train. I was a little nuts. Things changed, and I was stubborn, and I was kind of like only had the one alternative. There was no options. So it was like I literally spent as much time commuting as I spent in the office. So it would be like 4 hours on the train one way, and 4 hours on the train the other way, and 8 hours in the office. So my half my day was literally commuting. I would come home and basically go to sleep to get up and do it again. It was crazy sometimes. It really was. But the amount of time I was on the train, I got to know people. I got coupons for stuff that was like web only that people like. Oh, here, take this for here's a free pair of pants from I forget where the heck it was. Someplace fancy. Um, you know. So it was a privilege. It was.
Well, that's cool. I mean, I think that happens to a lot of us when we do something in a repetitive kind of over and over. You do get to know the people around you, but I don't think I'd ever ask anybody for condoms. Just FYI, for any reason. But it happens. But we are all kind of hardwired for that curiosity of what's going on, and we like to play. What
I'm built
So
different.
I love the fact that you invent like the stories or what's going on with that person or what's going on with that person, because prior to the loud conversations of people, um, I think that's definitely how I did it when I was little and watched people all the time. What's this story or but I was also very dark as a child, so usually they were all killers and doing horrible things to people. So I was demented even at a very young age, which is horrible. Um, so I don't know, but
Well,
the
it it
actual
turned it
go ahead.
it always turned into exactly what we've talked about before, that unsolicited advice that people want to just volunteer, like, well, why don't you just try this, that they feel like they want to insert themselves into your life,
Oh
and
yeah, why don't you
because now
just
that
shut up? That's
they
my
know
answer.
you, and they're familiar, and they're familiar, and it's just like oh, I had that happen to me once before, and this is what I did,
You
and
don't find that
there's that.
annoying?
Sometimes
I get very
I-
offended when people think they know me. I'm like, I didn't invite you into my conversation. I don't care if you're listening. Nobody's talking to you. Go away. I'm also an asshole.
Uh,
It's okay. It's just, and
we,
here's the thing. Eh, I don't interrupt other people's conversations. And I don't expect people to interrupt mine. It's one thing if you're like, "Excuse me," and want to start something. That's different. That's straightforward. But if you're going to be like, "Hey, listen, last time that kid," without going, can I offer you some advice? Since you're out there in the open, that there's a way to do that rather than just jumping in because you figure since it's an open conversation because you're so loud, you're going to jump in. That annoys the shit out of me.
yeah,
And I tend to not
it
pay
was
any
because
attention.
it was because of the familiarity and there was a sense of camaraderie that we all kind of knew each other. So it was like
Oh, I thought this was so
it was
random.
oh no. The randos always wound up either getting in the group or changing cars.
Yeah, yeah,
It got to a
that
point
sounds
where
like me.
it got to the point where there was a bunch of us, like I said, maybe eight of us that we all kind of knew each other. So we would see, we would nod, we would know what was going on in each other's lives. We would hear about children and graduations and all the conversations and what's going on at work. I know two people allegedly had an affair, and one of them was at one point arrested for embezzlement. I mean, there's some crazy things that went on my train. And
How do
the
you
best the
invite
best was
strangers into that though? Like, how do you invite strangers into those intimate things of your life, all those nuances that you don't tell just anybody? How do you end up telling a bunch of random people on the train? That's insane to me.
some of it is that you have these conversations that you can't help, but because somebody calls you at one point and you end up having a conversation and then you get that quizzical look or whatever, and you almost feel obligated to explain it. Some
Oh,
people are
you're
like
nicer
that.
than I
Uh,
am. I'm like, what? Okay, people want to ask me a question about something that's not their business. I'm like, no.
You
yeah.
are you're very good at setting boundaries.
I'm very good at ignoring people. I don't like people. I don't like groups of people. I don't like crowds of people. I
But
don't
you
like people.
would spend 40
one,
hours
one,
on a train a week.
Yeah, I
one,
don't
one
want to
of
know
one of
you.
one of the women in my clique was married to one of the ticket takers. So that was also very interesting. The conversations that went on between them, and the stories that she would tell about him embarrass him. So it was an interesting dynamic. But she was an interesting lady. Um, she worked. She was like Elaine actually. She worked for a book publisher. Um, nice lady, but the stories the stories about her husband were crazy. She came home one day to find the kitchen table missing, and he was building a boat in the middle of the kitchen.
Yeah, I'm not just over here loving the Seinfeld references. It is what it is.
Oh
I
my
think it's
goodness! It
funny
was.
that the three of us, one of these things is not like the others, and that would be me. You know, because I am not at all. It's not that I'm antisocial. I can hang out with all the people and all the crowds and do all the things. It's just not my preference. Here's the thing, Rack. You love people. You like the attention. I don't. Both of you, to a certain degree, like certain types of attention as far as people actually having conversations. And I don't give a shit about anybody. I'm just over there minding my own business, going, I'm like, I guess I'll be driving home because everybody else is drunk because that's just how I'm made. I'm all danger, Will Robinson, danger, Will Robinson. And so, therefore, everybody else can have fun. I'll make sure everybody gets home safe. And it's not that I don't have fun or don't want to have fun. I just find fun in different places. And I just find it really, really interesting because I am not at all with all the people. Now, having said that, If I see somebody distressed or a lost child or somebody's looking upset, and they're not in a crowd of fucking people, I'll ask if they're okay. I'm not gonna sit there and ignore people in trouble. Just I'm not that kind of an asshole. But I'm also not going to be
What
all what?
I was gonna say, what kind of asshole are you then?
I'm the kind of asshole that if you've got 6 kids and I have four, so I can say some shit, and you're in the middle of a theme park and you're not eyeballing all of your children, and you've got one of them underneath the bench and you're not paying attention to any of them, and you start to walk away. I'm the one that'll let you get so far before I remind you that you forgot a child, while always keeping an eye on the child. But I'm not going to be like, hey, don't forget your kid while you're still there. I'm like, let you feel stupid and let you keep a better eye on your kid. But I'm also not gonna let anything happen to that kid. But if you're gonna be an asshole and grumpy and all this shit, I am not your friend. I'm not gonna help you.
And that's where the
Uh,
leashes come in.
Ouch.
I only Out of all of my kids, I only had one on a leash because he was a menace. It was this cute little Elmo backpack that had a leash attached to it, and I used to attach him to the stroller of the other kid. And because if I kept him in the stroller or he would throw a fit, and if I let him free, he would run. So if he had a little bit of a range, like a 6 foot range, he was perfectly happy getting into minimal shit. And I'm like, well, all right then, I don't have to worry about you. Fine. Because sometimes you got to do what you got to do. You don't want me to do, don't tether your fucking kid. I'm tethering my kid because that's his happy place, you know? But I only had to do that to one out of four. He's still my menace.
Yeah,
Ah,
I only had one menace, but I only had
I
two
mean,
kids, so I
I was
got
going to
one.
say there's a 50-50 chance.
Yeah, you know. There's
I
always
I guess that means that I guess that means I was the menace.
yeah, probably. But
I
you were the
mean, I
angel
don't know.
too.
He's the what?
He was the angel and the menace, so he played both parts.
I don't
Oh
know
no,
where
I've been
you
told
see any
I
kind
don't
of
do
angel.
innocent.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't do.
Well,
not even a little bit. That Halo's a hula hoop for Pete's sake.
I was not the menace. That would have been my older brother.
I mean, just because nobody saw it doesn't mean you weren't.
Oh, no, he was definitely more. If you wanted to people watch somebody, it would have been my brother. He would. There's this great story of my dad driving down the road with a visiting minister, and this guy is talking about the idiots pretending to be trees, pretty much half naked, and they're got tree branches, and they would run down the street and pose as a tree, run down a little further and pose as a tree. And my dad just kept driving on because that was his son. So, yeah, my brother was a menace. A menace. Yeah, not me.
That's an interesting way to get wood.
Well, he was in his underwear and pretending to be a tree. I don't know. I can't explain it.
Here's branching out.
Yes, something like that. He went to my other oldest brother's work in a diaper and just started crying because he wouldn't come out and play with him. He was quite the jokester. He was a lot of fun, unless you were the butt of his jokes. Because my older brother did not appreciate that.
So
But
when
he
he
was,
was pretending to be a tree, did any of the squirrels try and hide their nuts?
I don't know, I didn't ask him. There was enough problems elsewhere, so yeah, that was fun. So it's been a half an hour and we haven't put one poem out. So I did put a poem out.
Yeah, I am gonna hop off here before you get into all the goods simply because I can't talk anymore.
Oh,
But I
Okay.
love you guys, and I'll try to hop on again later. But I need to rest now.
Go rest.
Love you guys. I don't know how to hang this shit up, to be honest with you. Hold on a second. I figured it out before. Let's
I
see if I
do it.
can figure it out again. Bye, sweetheart.
Bye. All right. There she goes. All right. I've got one, and then I'll throw one of yours. Maybe I can do all this right. Okay. This is my lovely poem called People Watching. I have wandered about in City Park, trying to keep my mind still, listening to the birds singing their melodic songs. No matter the power of my self will, the noise around me was absurd. I was forced to listen to what was wrong with the world. A gentleman to my right was arguing with his wife. She was indeed peeved that he hadn't come home last night. If people around me took her side, but that's what happens when you keep your cell phone volume on high. Now, ahead of me to the south, a woman with a big mouth was ranting and raving about a blue comet saving all our lives. My heart broke as I watched a boy begging a girl to stay with him as she walked away with tears in her eyes. Love does last forever as two vintage lovebirds walk by, hand in hand with mischief in their smiles. I wondered how many miles they had covered over a lifetime. Children's on swings playing in sand, giggling and screaming, as mothers gossiped, pretending little ears don't understand, while everyone walking by can hear the conversation at hand. We pretend to seek privacy and personal space, demanding our time in this proverbial rat race. Alas, walk through City Park and you'll hear every cell phone conversation and the opinions of the people near. End poem. So that's how I feel about that. All right. So, Rack, I'm going to get you up there now because you are a fun read. So, which one do you want to go up first?
So whatever you're in the mood for, I don't know.
Whatever I'm in the mood for. I will go with this one because it makes me smile. Always. And since you make me smile with this one, everybody else should enjoy it. Oh, come on. I hate the mouse I have. It just is not my favorite little mouse. Aw, thank you, Teresa. I'm so happy to hear your little voice. That's so cool. That's a good friend of mine. That's fabulous. We have a lot of fun people watching because we watch a lot of crazy people. So that's fabulous. All right, my sexy raconteur. We're going to play you. I'm going to play you like a fiddle, young man. All right, here we go. Come on. Of course, if things would work, that would make me so happy. But no. Come on, you piece of shit. I uploaded them all, so I know they're there. Here we go. Yay, things worked. Maybe for a half a second I can pretend I know how to work this studio. That doesn't work because it happens halfway through it. Okay, hold on. We'll start this over. Here we go.
watching the lemon drop sun kiss the sky, flowers shower in morning dew, as songbirds sing serenades that make me cry. My day begins with a cup of coffee, which is usually a solitary act. Today I'll share time with a friend and enjoy the beauty and intellect my life sorely lacked. Something seemingly negligible as time and companionship is priceless, especially if I can run around like a child in the playground of our minds. The promise of coffee may be what brought us together, but there were untold treasures hidden within the grinds. During moments of weakness, my heart weeps for more, drawn helplessly to her flame, swearing she's not the cause of my tachycardia. She insists the caffeine should take all of the blame. End poem.
Absolutely. I blame everything on the caffeine. So I will tell everybody that Rack lives in New Jersey, and I live in another place. Well, the mountains. Everybody knows I live in Colorado, but we were lucky to meet. So I've actually been able to meet both pretty. Oh yeah, pretty sweet. I'm pretty, but Pretty Bird and Raconteur. So um, having coffee with him is definitely a pleasure, and I love this. The oval moon meandered over the horizon, and flowers shower in morning dew. My day begins with a cup of coffee, and I get to, sharing it with a friend. And I love the line, especially if I can run around like a child in the playground of our minds. But there are untold treasures hidden within the grinds. Now, I don't know what untold pleasures are, but knowing you, they've got to be dirty because I know you.
Well, coffee, coffee grinds, you know.
Yeah, coffee grinds and hot steam and creamy milk and all the other things that come with it because you're the pun king, you know.
Coffee tastes like mud because it was ground this morning.
And then you have a special coffee that you love that is very unique.
Oh, it's specific. It's a coffee.
Oh, don't tell me I lost you again. I'm going to cry. I'm going to cry. I know I'm going to cry, but that's okay. I can keep talking because there goes Raconteur. Oh, I love this studio. Now I'm all by myself again. That's okay. I can keep talking
You're
about
not.
watching. Oh,
Yeah,
there you are. He came back
yeah,
like a man. You just scared the
yeah.
hell out of me, though. Like coming out of the dead. Like, ah, he's there. Good. Oh my God. So this 8 hour a day train trip has my mind blown. I don't know if I would take a job where I have to sit on a train 8 hours a day.
Well, it obviously didn't start that way. You know, there was points where I was commuting and I had the parking lot and the car, and then things changed and you can't really park in New York City, so that was different, and reporting to data centers and uh, responsibility shifting and position shifting. So it was weird. Different points, different locations. It just kind
Yeah,
of happened. But like you said, it definitely would not have been my first. Oh, I'm gonna sit on the train all day
yeah. I
kind
mean,
of
and
turn.
you had to like learn a lot about everybody. I mean, just being on a train for 8 hours a day. has got to, and seeing the same people over and over for God knows how long you were on the train, I don't know how many years or months or whatever, you know, you would learn so much about everyone.
As much as like Pretty Bird said, as much as they'd let you. Some people were more private than others. Some people were very open about whatever they wanted to talk about. Some people didn't want to be bothered. And part of it, is the politeness of I'm not going to get into your shit and harass you about this, that, or the other thing. Just because you're stuck sitting next to me for the train ride, that doesn't mean we have to, engage per se. So some people just closed their eyes and slept. It was always weird. It was a different new adventure every day.
I think that's cool. I mean, I have a hard time. I had a hard time going to work with the same people every day, let alone going to work with the same people every day, and then having to ride 8 hours on the train with the same people every day. But we all have our own adventures. So the world is full of tiny stories happening right in front of us. All you have to do is look. Now that's a quote, but I don't know who the quote is from. But I love that quote. I just, it's great. So the question is, how do we define the line between curiosity and creepiness? And I think one of the things is how often we interrupt and go, "Hey, let me give you some advice. Hey, let me tell you what to do." And I try to stay outside that line, but it's hard for me. I like to talk to people and give them advice, and I try to keep it to mostly my friends, you know. But I talk a lot. But maybe not. Maybe I do. Maybe I don't. I'm not sure. I'd have to
You
ask.
know, so sometimes my attitude is more, well, if I'm going to see these people every day, I may as well make an effort to reach out and at least open up some kind of social dialogue that they're more than just a random face on the train. You know,
I agree with that because if you're going to be with them that long, I would, bake them cakes and know their birthdays. But I'm really bad at birthdays. I shouldn't say that. I suck at birthdays. Half the time, I don't even know my own family's birthday. My
you're
brothers,
coming to my birthday.
huh?
Nothing.
Did you say I better know your birthday? Because I don't. I hardly know my own.
No, I didn't say you better know it. You said you sucked at birthdays, and I never mind.
Oh,
Because
okay. Yeah. Pun slinger. Yes, yes. I should know better. I should know better.
you blow the candles, blow is just an expression. Stop it.
Stop it. Stop it. Ah, I'm so bad at this. Not good at all. So I want to go back to something that, Pretty Bird had talked about as far as sitting back and making up stories and all of that. That was
Mm.
something that, you know, I loved to do when I was, really young and I was shy and didn't talk to people at all. But I would sit back and kind of, look at people and just sit there and go, oh, this person is this. And as we all know, I'm so into fairy tales. So a lot of my stuff was like, the fairy tales of this or that. And, this was the princess, this was the evil, king or anything. So I could do that for hours. And of course, was ridiculed because I could just sit and be quiet and do those things. And when you have three rowdy brothers sitting in a tree, yes, I sat in a tree and read a book. That was my thing. I loved to sit in this really cool tree we had that had like a U shaped branch, and I would just sit my ass in that U shaped branch and read. And it was fabulous. I would read and then kind of watch everybody in the park and just have a good time with it. So I liked to do that, for a long time. And then, life struck me pretty hard. And I was married and had two babies. And I really didn't pay attention to anybody but, the two kids I had in front of
See,
me. So, um,
see, this is where I get. confused, and the dichotomy between the way Pretty Bird looks at things and the way I do. You're sitting there making up the stories. I talk to the people and I find out the real stories, because you listen to all the things that you mentioned about sitting in the tree and your brothers and everything else. That's more interesting than anything that I can make up. It's like the reality of your life is more interesting to me than my idea of, oh, she must work in a pet store because she's got feathers on her all the time or something. It's like maybe there's a better reason. And excuse me, did you know you've always got feathers on you or whatever? And then you find out, oh, then I've got, I make pillows for a living or something stupid like that. It's just, I don't know. You don't need to make things up when reality, what is it they say, that life is more interesting, life is so much more interesting, the reality of things than anything you could really make up. My little circle of people that I talked about, as much as you want to make up stories about them, I know, I shouldn't say I know. Um, I think two of them I think were married, but that they wound up sneaking off together every once in a while, and one of them I think was arrested for embezzlement. I mean, interesting stuff.
Yeah, very interesting. But if you've never met somebody, you know, you've got to, I think that, if you never met somebody or you see this like drop dead gorgeous woman and you just want to be, that glamorous life or make her a glamorous life where, red carpet and champagne every night and, just fawned over. Sometimes we project what we want to be on somebody you might see in the park or somebody you might see at a dinner or a diner or anything like that. You have, the curiosity of what her life might be like. I mean, I'm a short, grumpy little redhead, and maybe I'd like to be a 6 foot tall blonde. Who knows? I doubt it, but you can never tell. So sometimes when you're people watching, you can project the curiosity of what you could be or what maybe you want to be, or you know the story that you might want to see in yourself. You never know. That's just what I'm saying. You could, not that you always do, or maybe you see somebody that reminds you of your grandmother or something like that. Like this weekend just about killed me because we all know I went off to Kansas City and played with my dogs, and there was a dog there that totally looked like Amadeus. Okay, I fell apart. I didn't know the owner. I didn't know anything about her, but she carried the spirit of Amadeus. I mean, I looked in this dog's eyes, I saw him, and I just fell all over him. Teardrops, everything. So they probably thought I was insane. But I got to pet him and love on him. And it was for me projecting my love for Amadeus because I could just, for a moment, really saw my dog. So just watching him for a few moments, I wanted to connect with that. I wanted to, feel him. Even though it wasn't him, I wanted to feel him. So, sometimes you just do that and you project or want to connect in some way. And so when
But
you watch things
that
or
that
see things, sometimes you create things that might not be there.
that crosses over the watching into the reality of stuff.
Yeah. So I think that sometimes we people watch it and go to places that we might never be or never been, or brings back memories. Like sometimes I'll see my grandma's face in someone, or I'll see my dad's face in someone, or Anytime I see anybody wearing anything of Betty Boop, I always say hello to my mother. And that's weird, but I do. I think Betty Boop is my mom. That's what she was called. That's what she looked like. Seriously, she did. And so when I see that character, somebody wearing a T-shirt, or I happen to walk by a shop or anything, it's like, oh, mom's here. Mom's saying hi. So I think that that's the other thing about people watching is sometimes there's that connection. Not that it's deliberate, but it's kind of a flash of a memory. And so there's that part of it too. Not that you would see it, you know, not now, but I'm sure you did before.
One of the people that I hung out with in my little group, her name was Betty, and we called her Betty Boop.
Oh, that's great. That is really great. So, I think that that's another thing about people watching is you never know what weird connection might happen if they're, just through a memory, and that can happen. All right, let's throw another poem up in the world. Another poem up in the world. This is a small crack at humor and gossiping. Not that I can do it anyway like you do, but we'll see. You know what? Okay, that didn't work for me. I don't know why.
We all have our own style.
We do. All right, here we go. When Gossip Speaks the Gospel by Sweet Pea. With the chickens fed and the horses watered, she started the oven for tonight's pot roast and red potatoes. Outside the kitchen window, she watches the tangerine hues of the sunset and remembered a time when butterflies used to flutter in her stomach. Watching the rows of corn release his tractor and allow him to come home. Dinner was served with small talk and a ward silence. No talks of next week's trip to the tractor pull. There, with dishes done, arguments spun, no longer lovers, for the refusal of a nursery and green and yellow. Lies don't keep secrets in backdoor alleys, simply packaged and sold as heroin for gossip junkies. For church ladies and busybodies at picnics and choir, drinking buddies and hunting brothers offered advice. They were the short straws drawn, the odds increased by 4 to 1. At the bar he sat with a beer waiting for her to finish her hair. A cacophony of voices spread odd gossip, spewing stories of a married couple divorcing after over a torrid affair. He jumped from the bar to the saloon he strolled, fuming at the evil words she had spread. Hysteria met him as he opened the door, screaming for his wife, and in a gentle voice she gave him some advice. Don't scold those who gossip. They're addicted for life. I spoke to our neighbors about our current strife. There are people on your side and those who choose your wife, but I still refuse to name our son after your tractor, John Deere for life. And poem.
Ah,
People will make up anything if they see something is amiss. So gossip is a lot of fun because if people watch you do something in public, it becomes the insanity in the gossip world. One little tick, one little fight, one little sad, one little anything, and you are the talk of the town. So there you go, because God only knows what can possibly happen. You know, you just can make the wrong move at the wrong time in front of the wrong person, and all of a sudden you're having an affair, you're getting divorced, you're having a baby, you're bankrupt. There's all kinds of things going on in your life. So I think that, for some, people watching is a great gateway to kind of put spices in their life and make them happy so they can go out and just run their mouths for no good reason. But they might have heard, they heard a word or two, a sentence, or I saw it on their phone, or I heard them say a name, and so sometimes people watching, can get other people in trouble, in big trouble, and they don't know what the hell they're talking about. So because I've been on that side of the world too, where somebody heard me say something to somebody and all of a sudden I'm some kind of horrible human being, I'm the bad guy, I've done this, I've done that, and it's like you don't know what the hell you're talking about. And it just takes forever for it to get worked out, if you get worked out, or like me, if I give a damn. Personally, if you want to gossip about me, please make me your lesbian lover, or do something. I've murdered someone. I mean, if you're going to gossip, make my life so much more interesting than what it is. I just that's my goal. If you're going to
You
gossip,
you
make it good.
you you killed your last three husbands.
I have killed my last three husbands, but everybody knows that. I mean, and I'm working on Bob. Slowly but surely, he's dying. Um, just look at how much weight he's lost. He's about ready. He's almost in the ground. Um, and as soon as that happens, I'm free again. Life will be good. So, and then you and I can run away together, Rack. See how I'm waiting. Just got a few more
I'm
years.
I'm pulling. Where's the number? Yeah, give me a number. I'll take a number. I'll get on that line.
Okay, get in that line because I'm so desirable. Please. Um, but yeah, so that's another factor of the people watching and what people overhear, what people think, and I'll tell you the best place to get it from is the church. And excuse me if I offended you, but I'm sorry. I've grown up in the church, and they are love to gossip. A good story is a good story there. So Racky, what do you think of the gossip?
Mm.
Have you ever been a part
I
of the gossip?
mean, not really. And the possibilities are endless, and the truth is stranger than fiction. So I tend to think that even if somebody tells you something, you never know the whole story. You can never know the whole truth. So you know,
Never
I
know.
always look at things with an open eye and open mind.
Yeah, I never care about gossip. I don't care what people, pretty much say about me. I am who I am. Love me or hate me. That's just the way it is. Um, and you know, I've got my lovers and I got my haters, so life is good. I can't help it. All right, let's go with your other recording, my darling. Dee, 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 dee. I'm not allowed to do that. I shouldn't do that. Um, I've been warned because I tend to sing between things and it's not good. I should talk, not sing, which I don't sing anyway, so I don't know why I do it. My mom was the singer, not me, and all the fun stuff, but I tend to like do that when I'm picking out poems. I don't know why. It's a bad habit. I have to stop it. Uh, it's one of the things that I'm trying to work on, but I caught myself, so we're good. Maybe not as good as I should have been, but hey, things I've got to work on, and that is one of them. So we'll see what happens. Okay. Okay. I got a big red no. Big red no on you. It's awful.
No.
No. Big red sign. Okay, there. That's better. See how it goes. Hopefully, I get better reception here this time around when I hit the go button. All right. No.
So antennas got
Soup Kettle
married.
by Raconteur. I was cold and hungry when I wandered into the little restaurant somewhere down a back alley in the French Quarter of New Orleans. An old-fashioned soup kettle hung in the fireplace that warmed the dining area. As I was seated, I asked the waitress what she would recommend, and she replied that the gumbo was magical. She went on to explain how the chef bought the kettle at auction. It was at least 13 generations ago when a potion was brought to life in it. A list of ingredients and their precise measurements, written in a long forgotten tongue, were handed down with the cauldron itself when the time came. But the miraculous quality of this brew, despite evaporation and its usage over time, the flame beneath never extinguished, and inside was always full, making the simmering concoction as old as the burgundy ink used to chronicle the arcane ritual on the brittle parchment, keeping the elixir viable in perpetuity. There are those that say it was an act of vengeance, while others claim it was merely carelessness. But the aftermath of the catastrophe was undeniable. There was a perfect ebony circle of charred earth where the hut once stood, and at its center sat the ancient cauldron, an anachronism appearing to have been meticulously placed several feet from the remains of the fireplace where it used to hang. The cauldron bore no evidence of ever being used, and appeared as pristine as the day it was forged. Inside were the unintelligible remains of an ancient parchment, the only evidence suggesting it was the same artifact that bubbled for generations in the fireplace. I said, "I'll have the andouille sausage and a glass of sweet tea with lemon, please." The waitress chuckled and said, "Coming up." End
Oh,
poem.
you always make me giggle because I wouldn't have that kettle soup either. Oh my God. First off, I love it because it's set in New Orleans, and I love New Orleans. Even though I hate the state of Louisiana, I live there, and I would not recommend that for anyone. Um, but God, I love New Orleans. Great place to visit, not a place to live. And I'm so sorry if you live in the state. I'm sure you love it, and it's a beautiful state. It's just not for me. Um, I was seated and asked the waitress what she would recommend. She replied the gumbo was magical, and the 13 generations and all of that. And, you know, but the aftermath of the catastrophe was undeniable, and you've got this little charred little thing and just the parchment paper, and that's okay, babe. I'm just gonna go with the end, the poor boy and the sweet tea. And God, that sweet tea is so good. Now I want some. But yeah, you chose well. You chose very well because just watching what was going on, the power of observation. Yeah, this is just something we're not going to do. Um, Keeping the elixir viable and perpetuate. Yeah, I can't talk. Um,
Perpetuity.
Perpetuity. That's it. Perpetuity. Um, ah, and at its center sat the ancient cauldron. There's something wonderful about an ancient cauldron. They've done so many things. So many things. Nightshade and, eyeballs and bat wings and, the blood
Love
of a virgin.
potions.
Yeah, the blood of a virgin, which you can never find nowadays. But it's just perfect little poem because God
You could
knows what.
you could you could find a whatever version online all over the place.
Oh, yeah, probably. This is true. For a price, you can get anything. But who says it's really that? How many times has she been bought? Um, oh, God, yeah. And I love the fact that you once said to me, I would kill to hang out with you in New Orleans. We'd make our own legends. Yes, we would. They would be fabulous. Oh, can you imagine? And people watching in New Orleans, that's a whole different level. I mean, you talk about some crazy stuff going on. Not that you could see anything, but I bet I would love to throw some beads so you could feel your way around. I'd do that for you. I really would. Hey, here's some beads. Now let my friend feel your braille. I don't know if they
Wait a
would.
minute, those are anal beads.
Well, that's your choice if you want to feel around. That's your thing. Oh, so what's the weirdest moment you've ever seen or witnessed or observed in your people watching?
That's hard to say because weird is subjective.
Okay, well, I'm asking you, so it's your objective of weirdness.
I don't know. I have to ponder that. I never really, the things kind of make I think about them until they tend to make sense. So, you know,
Uh,
you
so
see, like you're always talking about people with their cell phones, turned up and all that other stuff. In my life, that's my reality because I can't see and I can't interact with my phone. I have to have my life on display like that, and everything is you know out there in the open and on blast. So I
yeah,
can't have the same privacy as some people anymore. So
yeah. I'm trying to think of the weirdest thing I've ever seen, but I've seen so much weird stuff in my life. I would say that from my perspective, I was the weirdest thing that anybody has ever seen. So, as far as people watching, I think I might have been one of the weirdest things that anybody has ever seen. Like, I wasn't viewing, but I was viewed. So, I want you to picture a Toyota Corolla. Was it a Toyota? Yeah, like a Toyota Corolla, a 19 like 80 Toyota Corolla, four-door little tiny thing. And I want you to picture a 8-foot hammerhead shark tied to the top of it. And I want you to picture it's still bloody and still kind of moving around, driving down a highway. Windshield wipers are just smearing the blood. And we have
sounds
like,
like
oh, I don't know, about 13, 14 miles to get home. There you go. And I'm in the front seat. A husband was in driving. And I have my little baby in the back seat in his car seat laughing the whole time. So, how would you? I mean, that I think is the weirdest thing ever. Driving with a hammerhead shark on the top of my car.
you couldn't very well put it in the trunk.
Precisely. But we could have possibly filleted it at the dock. But it was too alive. So I often,
You see, that's what I mean when I say, I try and keep an open mind. There's reasons why people, do things and it changes, your perspective on things sometimes because you don't know. You never know. It's like, well, why didn't you? It could be as simple as, I never thought of it, but there could be a very logical reason. Well, if you fillet it now, it goes bad by the time you get there. All the factors surround. We didn't have ice to put it on, so we couldn't fillet it now. We didn't have it uh, a cooler to put it in. We didn't want to sell it. We wanted to take it home. There's all kinds of reasons. My husband wanted to mount it and put it above the mantle. Who knows?
Oh no, I was very angry. I mean, you could see how angry I was because the husband actually put my son on top of it and it whipped around. And
Yeah,
no, that would, no, my 18-month-old child. No, he was younger than that. He might have been, let me see, because the other child wasn't born. So he was probably about 13 months old. And he put him right on top of the thing,
struck
straddled
me.
him. So yeah, I was very angry, and you could tell in the car. So yeah, that I think was the absolute craziest thing I've ever seen in my life, and I was a part of it. Yeah. So I think that was the way it was. So, there I am being a part of my own people watching because as the guys were putting him on the roof, I just kept saying to myself, this is dumb. What is wrong with you people? What is wrong with you people? And I had to dip under part of the hammerhead to get into my own car. And I was still thinking, I'm the dumbest person alive. So, yeah, sometimes I think that we forget that people watch us because, what am I doing? Because this is definitely, you know, part of the world and I'm being watched. So I always kind of forget that part and I go about my life because you don't really think about
Yeah,
the other people that are watching.
yeah.
And
Sometimes you're enjoying the moment so much you don't care who's watching.
right,
Yes, a stolen moment on the outside of a bar. It's like people can see us. I don't care.
I don't care. Yes, this is very true. I've had several moments. I don't really care who's watching. And I've had several moments where um, maybe I should have cared who was watching, but c'est la vie. And it is what it is, and there's nothing you can really do about it because, you know, it is what it is. So I should do the announcements because, that's part of this game too. So we have, let's see what we have coming up. Da, 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 da,
Next week.
which would be, let's see, I'm looking for the dates. Um, I'm
20.
sorry. Yeah, I'm on 623. I'm sorry, but I'm sorry, not sorry. I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm sorry, but in my defense, apologies do not come with disclaimers or explanations. Some apologies aren't looking for accountability, they're looking for absolution. Why is sincerity so hard to come by when saying, I'm sorry? Ugh, isn't that the truth? So that is one of my pet peeves. So I look forward to that. Um, let us see what's coming up next. I don't know why these are not in order. I cannot find mine. Ah, that's horrible. I don't have one. And then on the 30th, because I can't find mine, we're, oh, good Lord. Oh, yeah, here we are. Mine is I found it. Yay, dreams after the aftermath of slumber. Dreams, you're awake. You're still feeling the fingerprint of last night's dream on your skin. You can't shake it. All morning, your head wanders, wondering which reality you're living in. When dreams feel so real, they linger. That's on the 25th. And then following that, we're going to do no is a complete sentence. And tomorrow night, I believe, is our story time. And that is going to be um, Cruel, Cruel Summer. So no poetry, no nothing. Everybody call in, tell us your crazy, cruel summer story. What has summer done to you? Whether it's a vacation, whether it's a moment in time, whatever it may be. And I believe that is tomorrow night. So we're looking forward to that. You, of course, can listen to us everywhere. Our podcast is everywhere. So you can listen to us on X, you can listen to us on Facebook Live, you can listen to us on Apple Cats or Apple. You can listen to us on Spotify. You can listen to us on where else? You can listen to us obviously here. You can listen to us on Podbean and anywhere else you listen to your podcasts. You can find us every Tuesday and Thursday at 10 o'clock or anywhere actually, live at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time or Daylight Time, whatever it is,
Eastern.
Eastern Time. And we look forward to seeing your comments and joining us. Um, and that, I believe, is the announcements for the night. And I know PB does them so much better and smoother, but I will get there. She just has that smoothness about her. And I'm like the stuttering queen of, oh my God, I gotta do this part. Uh, she's very good at it.
Parts of you are smooth.
Huh?
Parts
Was
of
I
you are smooth.
good? I'm better. I'm getting better. I just get so like nervous and I don't know why. I'm just a nervous Nelly. It doesn't make any sense because I've been doing this for so long. But, I have no idea. It is what it
Or
is.
blind dear.
We're blind here. It's just one of those things. Okay. So we've got Thinking of You read by Raconteur. And unfortunately, you don't have a recording for this, so I've got to read this. So I'm going to read Thinking of You read by Raconteur. Where have you gone, Red? Don't you know you're my favorite Drake? I used to love to hang out with you when I would visit Mom near your home at the park on the lake. Not seeing you is driving me daffy. My mind is playing tricks, wondering where it is you've gone. Did you find work doing voiceovers on some late night cartoon? You know, the ones that are always so poorly drawn. Or maybe you got into a fight while getting your hair done. Hanging with cartoon characters can get you in a fix. They act one way on the screen, but in real life they can be such pricks. I just hope you didn't run away with some gold-digging hen. They think they can wrap you around their wings just because they look like a 10. They have such expensive taste. When it comes to shopping, they never get their fill. Sure, heads will turn when you're with them, but when one comes to pay, they always smile and say, put it on his bill. So I hope you're safe and sound, but I really hate it that you depart. I think every time I visit this lake, and sometimes when I hear someone fart. And, this did not transfer over again. I'm sorry to all my readers. But it got the big red sign and I didn't see it. But I love this. I do not know why it's not getting over. But yeah, this is great. I really, really, really love this. First off, to be so in love with a duck, you know, or a
What's a
red,
duck?
I don't know. And I do not know why these are not loading. This is making me angry. Hopefully I loaded that time. Third time is a charm. What am I doing? Your hair. Okay, come on. I don't know if it's my computer or what, but my stuff is not loading. Okay. What's a duck? I don't know. That funny cartoon
Ah,
animal. It's a drake.
ah.
Not seeing you is driving me daffy. You have so many great, lines in here, and ah, put it on his bill. Hell no. Yeah, this is great. Um, you always have such a great way of making things humorous. Sure, heads will turn when you're with them. I love that. They can be, but in real life, they can be such pricks. They act one way on the screen. Oh, I just hope, they didn't run off to do some late night cartoon, cheap and sleazy on the screen. That's just so hard. They'll never get a real gig after that. Hopefully,
Nope.
they haven't exposed their breast. They've kept all their feathers on. I did so enjoy it. And
That
your
was the
comments,
point.
huh?
That was the point.
That was the point.
Your enjoyment.
My enjoyment, I know. That's what we're here for. Not everybody else's enjoyment, just mine, right? I don't.
Absolutely.
I don't think so, darling. I think it's for everybody else's enjoyment. We're here to entertain. Actually, we're just here to talk about poetry and all the other bullshit I want to. We're not really here to, well, we are here for everybody. If you need us, we're here. Just, I don't know how well we'll be here. I don't know if we'll ever answer a message or anything like that, but, we can pretend. We can. Well, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Leave us a message. Something might happen. Something might not happen. We don't know. All right. So, I love that one, by the way. I thought it was adorable. Adorable, as we like to say. You're adorable, or as I like to say. So, this one is deep and dark and disgusting. No, it's not. I did not put any killing of children in this poem. Not one. Not nothing, anything
No,
like that.
no children were harmed in the writing of this poem.
No children have been harmed in writing of any of these poems because I didn't think that would be a good thing about people watching if I started, killing children. Even though I have several poems about, the death of young ones, um, just not this one
Several
because,
poems, or as you affectionately call them, recipes.
yes, recipes. They're recipes on how to make your one very, very, tidy and all of that. Ah, come on. Where?
Recipes for disaster.
There we go. Okay. So, this is Tell Me Your Story. A musical begins as the sun grins on the brick alleys behind the bars. The shucking of corn, the cut of the knife, the hiss of the steam, the stir of the spoons as it rattles the pots cooking tonight's jambalaya. Voices rise to speak hellos and goodbyes. Babies giggle, couples fight, swing sets squeak and rocking chairs creak. The oceans roar and the brook babbles, nature's opus. Moths dance in the pale golden rays of a streetlight's beam, as women in sequined dresses and hats with feathers waited to be seated in Tommy's whiskey and jazz house for the night. The first note from the saxophone made my thighs quiver. When the trumpet blew, I forgot my name and religion. When his fingers ran across Lucille, I lost all shame. In raging notes of fire, I fell into the hands of desire, as monochrome keys caressed every inch of my flesh. In my mind, a choir sang a holy song to the angels. In a black strapless dress, a woman talked of a kiss, in gray and blue tones that startled my heartbeat still. Drunk on her voice, even the whiskey had no taste. Timeless energy bounds inside my veins, pumping emotion to heights never experienced or known. Give me the notes to the story. I'll forever be loyal. Sandman's song smooths the madness in two-part harmony. Fresh scents of magnolias floating in a gentle breeze, cooling the cotton sheets on a humid summer night in New Orleans. End poem. That's my story. And it made you yawn. Fabulous.
No.
Great.
Oh,
What a commentary. So grateful.
my
Well,
comments are legendary. Yawn.
yes, that's a great comment. I appreciate it. My raging note to Billie Holiday's Kiss, a nod to the great Lucille, and you yawn. I'm gonna lose all confidence in myself.
But Lucille didn't belong to Billie Holiday.
No, the song, The Kiss, was mentioned. I know Lucille did not belong to Billie Holiday. The song, The Kiss, the song, a black strapless dress, a woman talked of a kiss. That's the nod to Billie Holiday, not the guitar, Lucille. And I don't think those two ever played together either. It was just a nod to both legends. Oh my goodness. You did a New Orleans story. I answered with the New Orleans story, and you just yawned. I'm boring you. I'm so unhappy. But what can I do? I still love you. I still love you. That's all I can tell you. That's all I can tell you. Anyway,
We could put on a show for the people to watch. What can I say?
this isn't a watching show. This is just
Turn on turn on the cameras.
turn on the cameras. No. So
Yeah.
that's not going to happen. No cameras. Nobody needs to know what I look like. Even though I have people on here that know that what I look like because they see me all the time. So there you go, which is fabulous. Hello to my people. I'm so excited that they're like here and making comments. That makes me so happy. Ha ha ha. Yes. And they know me. So that makes me even happier. All right. So,
No,
you
no, no,
know,
you.
I think what trumps us in everything is the natural response to being curious. Or is it nosy? Are we nosy or curious? I think
Are they
it's more,
different?
we're different. Bye, Teresa. If you're staying, you can stay. But if you gotta go, you gotta go. I love that you were here. I don't know. I don't think it's always, I think we're more curious. I think that the ability to be, curious about what's going on around us and curious to see everything that's going, here or there. And it's just a natural curiosity to see what's happening around us. So that's why we people watch. And because they're in front of us. And what else are we going to do on a boring day? But I think that we also watch to learn, well, they did that better or they did that worse or we can't, assume that we're all know-it-alls or that we know everything. So it's sometimes you're just curious to see how people handle things or, you know, I don't know, I am. I get curious about the way somebody dresses or why they put those two colors together or, I couldn't tell you why, but I get curious. And so sometimes I'll just sit back and watch and just see how people are dressed because I can't put an outfit together to save my life. But you never know.
Better naked.
you know, so
You look
sometimes
better naked.
I think you can watch, you know, different things and look at different things in different ways. Or, I certainly don't watch people to figure out how to behave, because I think I'm pretty good with that. Um, maybe I should learn how to be more courteous or more empathetic. Or, one of the things I like is when you see people doing something very kind, random acts of kindness, because I don't think there's a lot of that or enough of that, and when I see it, I think it's really cool. And usually, I generally pay that back, because I think random acts of kindness have happened to me. Like somebody pays for your coffee in line ahead of you, or you see somebody, like I've seen more than once, somebody pay for somebody's groceries because they were putting things back. And usually it's somebody that just has a mom with one or two kids. And I think that's just a fabulous thing. So, there's a lot to watching people, and watching people when they do good things. And the everybody always wants to talk about how bad the world is. And when you see those kinds of things, you really get to see that the world isn't that bad. You get to see um, the positive things, that individual actions, if we could do them on a grander scale, or pay attention to that versus all the bad stuff, you know because unfortunately we're fed all the bad stuff. Here's your people watching, here's this happened, and here's this happened, and here's this happening, and here's this happening. And we're fed the negative human race, instead of some of the positive things that happen. And there is a lot of things. Like I said, I've seen, you know, people just helping someone across the street, or people that, will put an extra quarter in somebody's parking meter because they see it running out. There are those things that happen, and they're not recognized every day. Unless you see it, you might not believe it, but it is true. And those are the things that I like to see. And, and then that makes me smile, and then I'll go out and buy somebody a cup of coffee, or I'll remember to be kinder. Or, I think that there are things that when you see them, like Pretty Bird said, I'd make the hat. She might not know anybody, but she has the random act of kindness where she would just make them a hat. They look gold, I'm going to go make a hat. That, not that I could ever make a hat, but those are the random acts of kindness that are just not preached enough, but they're there. And that's what I find so exciting about the human race too, because when you really watch people, you will probably see more kindness than you actually think is out there. Now, granted, we have our butchers and our murderers and our rapists and all this stuff that we hear about every day. But I think there's probably more people putting quarters in um, parking meters, or somebody buying coffee, than all of that. But unfortunately, because of media and the way things have changed, if something happens in Russia, or the Ukraine, or in downtown, somewhere in Germany, we're going to hear it. It doesn't matter where it happens in the world, we're going to hear about it. And so we always get fed the negative. And I think that's kind of, I don't know if that's advancing our culture, or I don't know, putting us more in a negative light. Because when you hear about every single crime or every single negative thing that happens in the world, it kind of dampens what the human race is all about. Because you don't hear about every nice thing that people are actually doing. So I often wonder, if we had every single nice thing reported. Well, first off, I don't think we'd have enough time, but we definitely have enough time to report every single negative thing that's out there. So maybe we should remember, or continue to watch all the good things that people do. You do good things, don't you, Rack?
Ah, depends on who you ask.
I know you do good things because you've done good things for
Depends,
me.
depends on who you ask.
Uh, chocolate covered bacon is a good thing. My favorite artist is a good thing. I mean, you've done a lot of things, so I know you're a good guy. So that's perfect. And I know Pretty Bird does tons of good things. She just doesn't like people talking to her about it. So you know, and I do little
So,
good things. I don't do grand gestures either. I never have, but I try to do the right thing. But
well,
man, I tell you what,
grand
huh?
gestures are Grand gestures are expensive. $500 ones are more affordable.
Yeah, I just I think that's the fun things in life where you get to go out and just be yourself, and who cares if any like they say, dance like nobody's watching. And I don't think a lot of people do that enough. I certainly
I'd
don't.
rather be Johnny Depp.
Huh?
I said I don't want to be myself. I'd rather be Johnny Depp.
Okay. You're such a weirdo. I'd rather dance like nobody's watching. Ah, maybe a little bit.
So I'll dance with you.
Thank you. I'm glad to hear that. At least somebody
You have to
will.
forgive me for You have to forgive me for stepping all over your feet, though.
Well, you can't see my feet, so I can, I'd have to forgive you. If you can't see my feet, what else am I going to do? So, there you go. There's nothing I can do. You're going to it's going to happen. Maybe I should watch your feet and watch my feet, and then or just dance
Well,
like 3 feet away from
there-
you.
there- there's that thing that big people do with tiny people like you, where you stand on my insteps and that then I can't step on your feet because your feet are already on
Oh,
top
my
of my
tiny
feet.
feet are on your feet. I see. That might work. I've seen your feet. My feet would fit on your feet. So that would work. We'll see how that goes. Ah, maybe. So we'll see how all of that happiness goes. All right. I am going to go through our message, our world, our announcements again to see if I can get those all smooth and nice. So, coming up for pretty sweet distractions, we have. Okay. See, I couldn't do it all smooth, but I'm sorry.
I'll buy you an apple lady.
Ha ha. Sorry, not sorry. I'm sorry you feel this way. Coming up on June 23rd. I'm sorry, but in my defense, apologies do not come with disclaimers or explanations. Some apologies aren't looking for accountability, they're looking for absolutions. Why is sincerity so hard to come by when saying, I'm sorry? I absolutely agree with that. Everybody has an excuse with, I'm sorry. It makes no sense to me. And then following that, we are going to have the aftermath of slumber. Dreams that you're awake, still feeling the fingerprint of last night's dream on your skin. You can't shake it. All morning your head wanders, wondering which reality you're living in. When dreams feel so real, they linger. And of course, tomorrow night, I believe, knock on wood, is Cruel Summer, where it's all about what summer has done to you. The cruelest things it possibly do, from 3-degree burns from the awful sunburns you may have gotten, to just food poisoning from the taco truck, anything that has ruined your summer. Come tell us your story. No poems, just call in, click the links. Come on and join us. Tell us your stories. Looking forward to that. And you can find us everywhere you find your listen to your podcasts. That's on um, Spotify, iPod,
Spotify.
Spotify, um, Apple, and on Podbean. See, I have to think out loud for them all. Podbean. Here, of course, where we're talking right now. You can also find us on Facebook Live, X, and on Facebook, like I already mentioned, sorry, and on YouTube. That's the one I forgot the last time, YouTube. And we look forward to hearing your opinions and definitely want to hear from you. So please talk to us, give us, anything you want to say. We may or may not pay attention to you, but we definitely want to hear from you. Um, so that's what we have coming up again. Let's see what else we can talk about. I really am looking forward to Cruel Summer. So if, I've had some really cool summers. We always talk about the infamous winter story of the granny panties, but that is nothing compared to what I've got coming up for cool summers. Let's just say we have cut off tongues involved. We have um, fires. We have F5 tornadoes. Um, it's just going to be a blast. And it's just, like I said, the tip of the tongue being cut off. That's a fabulous story. So, Granny Panties is going to pale in comparison. So, just to let you know, Rack, any previews?
Cruel summer. Old people at the nude beach.
Oh, that sounds fabulous. Old people at the new beach.
Yes, that would be a cruel summer.
Oh, yes, that sounds fabulous. And
Or,
scary.
or it sounds like Florida. I don't know.
I don't know. Well, maybe. I don't know. I've been to Florida, but I've never seen old people at the nude beach. I guess I've been lucky. I've been very lucky. I've even been to Europe and never seen nude people at the or old people at a nude beach.
Nude people at the old beach. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, nude people at the old beach. But however it works, I have not done that at all either. So I've been very blessed not to have to do any of that. I mean, because you talk about taking people watching over the edge for me, that would definitely do that for me. Oh yeah, no, 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 no.
Mm.
I would be. I don't know because now I am an old people at the nude beach, so now I'm one of them. So that would be scary for anybody. Absolutely, yeah.
Nah.
I am the old people at the nude beach. Well, I never have done a nude beach ever. I've done the bikini like strap off the top, but I always rolled over proper. I didn't like just bare the boobies out in the open. That's just not me. I am a little modest. I know that's hard to believe, but I have some modesty. I could never do that. I could not. Even living in Hawaii, I could not do that. I just, no. Even though I looked damn good in a bikini. And then I had my second son, my menace, and no, no more. No more bikinis. So there you go. That's just the way it's going to be. So I have definitely, had fun talking about all the reasons that we people watch and all the people watching that we do and all the interfering that I do in people watching because I go over the top because that's me. The people I've met, the friends, actually a couple of friends I've made because I've interfered, and the enemies I've made because I've interfered, um, you know, but I've never road raged. I've witnessed more than one road raging, and that's a whole other level of people watching.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you have road rage incidents too you've watched?
One of the in the course of my job, one of the things I used to do is I used to travel to people's houses to train them to sign in remotely to work. So, this was in the days when GPSs were like just, coming into pro, uh, popularity. So, I tended to print the directions out and like hold them between my thumbs as I was driving or whatever. And I know there was one day I drifted out of my lane, and I didn't hit anybody or anything. I just I did the obligatory. I waved at the guy, sorry, my bad, and then kept going. We got to the next light, and the guy felt like he had to get out of his car and yell at me. So we stopped at the light, and he got out of the car to yell at me, and next thing you know, his car starts rolling away. He forgot to put the brake on, and he did the cartoon hop and went chasing after his car. It
Oh
was
my
the
God.
funniest thing in the world. It was the funniest thing in the world, and yeah. So he had to get back, jump back in his car, and he was all embarrassed. It was pretty funny.
There's your road rage. Chase your own car. Oh. Oh, you want to? Okay, so I have this very weird incident about me forgetting to put my parking brake on in my driveway. And like, okay, so I forgot to put my parking brake on my driveway, and my car rolled into the neighbor behind us car. So it rolled out of my driveway into their driveway and hit their car. Okay, let me preface this by saying they were not good neighbors. So I'm like, oh, okay, let's call the police. I have to do a police report so I can submit this to my insurance. They'll take care of it. No big deal. They freak out. I mean, they freak out. No, don't call the police. You don't need to call the police. There's no reason for the police. We'll take care of it. No problem. We'll give you cash for your car. I'm like, why? I'm at fault. I'm at fault. Don't worry about it. My insurance will take it. No, you don't need to call the police. Don't call the police. And I'm like, I have to call the police. They have to come. I have to have a police report for my insurance company. No, no, don't call the police. Don't call the police. Whatever you do, don't call the police. And I'm like, you guys are freaking weird. I mean, you're freaking me out. So within the next 5 days, they're gone, completely and utterly gone. They packed up their whole house. They packed up their kids. They were out of there.
Should have hit him sooner.
So I guess so. Come to find out, they were wanted fugitives. They weren't. They were in that house. Not. I have no idea why, but they were squatting in the house. The person that owned the house had been in Europe for like last 4 months. Had no idea they were even in that house. Thought the house had been empty. Um,
Hmm.
it was the craziest thing, but yeah, it was really weird. So now the people we have next door are just amazing people, or behind, like opposite driveways. They're very nice people. They're very great people, but it was so weird. All because I didn't put a parking brake on. These people had to get up in the middle of the night. They packed their car with heart. I mean, it was insane.
They
In
have a hammerhead shark on the roof.
No, they did not. That's my own craziness. But yeah, so that's two crazy stories. But yeah, they backed up and left. Backed up and left. By the way, I did call the police. So the police were there
No.
and interviewed them because I had to have one for my insurance. I wasn't gonna like take cash. I had no idea how much it would cost to fix the bumper on my Kia. So yeah, nut jobs. I have the weirdos are all around me. So there you go. Things that happen. I guess I wasn't people watching enough. So
That
even
was
though
Kia watching.
I was Kia watching, even though the neighbors, I did people. So I have this great big bay window outside my kitchen, and I can see the whole neighborhood. So it is funny to watch my neighbors while I'm doing the dishes. Yeah. So there's one little man in our neighborhood that never wears shoes. And he gets up on his roof and he gets up and he does things. And I'm like, oh my God, you're going to hurt yourself. You're going to hurt yourself. You're going to hurt yourself. And he does. He does like gets his nail gun out there and he fixes things. And he never has shoes on. And I just want to go over there and like, please put your shoes on. You're using a nail gun and you don't have your shoes on. And I know it's not my place, but I so want to just yell at him like his mother. But
Sweet.
it, it just, no.
Shoes are not going to protect him from a nail gun.
I understand that, but they're going to do something. Put on boots, steel toed boots, do something. You shouldn't be walking around without your shoes. So it is what it is. But anyway, as we near the end of this fabulous show, thank you for being here with me. Um, Pretty Bird, please get better. Thank you for joining us for a few minutes while you had a little bit of a voice. We need you to get better. I am going to say what we always say. I had a fabulous time. I'm sure Raconteur had a fabulous time. But of course, if you did not, you can do what we like to say. Fuck all the way off. So, good night, everyone.